Good morning, everybody. My name's Darlene, and I have Parkinson's. I also have a very bad hair day. This here is coming this way. This is going straight up. Then it kind of stops, and this goes straight down. I don't know what's going on with it. Anyway, that's beside the point. I guess if that's my only problems, I'm okay. Anyway, my day started off a bit slower today. I was laying in bed, and I was only 10 minutes late taking my 9 o'clock dose, waiting for my home care worker to come. But she got there just before 10, and my meds had not worked. So unfortunately, I couldn't do my exercises myself. So as I was laying in bed, she took my body and just did the movements for me. It's not as good as doing it yourself, but at least it sort of stretched me up a little bit. But I wasn't able to help her get myself dressed or whatever. She had to do that while I was laying down in the bed. So it was a little bit of a slower morning, waiting for my pills to start working. And they have now worked, so that's good. But then Claudine had to go out this afternoon and check something out for me. And that I will be showing you tomorrow. So we went and purchased something that is becoming necessary for me, and then we purchased something that was frivolous for me. So I'm going to tell you about the frivolous thing, and then I'll tell you tomorrow about the other. The frivolous thing was 4 Adirondack chairs. I love Adirondack chairs. Now, I won't be able to sit in them because it's very low to the ground, but I love the look of them, and I just know that when you are sitting in them, they're very comfortable, even though I can't sit in them. So we purchased 4 Adirondack chairs. The price was only $15 a chair, and that's an amazing steal of a deal. Anyway, so unfortunately, this person has to move from their home, and they weren't going to be able to take them with them. So there's nothing wrong with them, except for that they were a little bit dirty from being outside. So we're going to go spray them off. And I'm not sure. The original plan was we'd put 2 at the front of the house and 2 at the back of the house, just so that we, can have, the front looking nice. A fellow just kitty corner from us has 2 out in front of his house, and they look very nice. But Claudine sort of indicated that they were nice enough that possibly we would put all 4 on the veranda and just get rid of some of the plastic ones from around the table. So that's what she went and did. And now we're trying to make arrangements to pick the other. She was able to get those into the car. And now we're making arrangements to go and try and pick up something else that we need a truck for. So that's what's happening for tomorrow. I haven't got Carol's picture hung up yet, but we have decided it's going to go in this spot. You can't see it right there, but anyway, it's going to go in this spot right here, and it will look very good, I'm sure. Maybe you can see that. Let's see, I'll just turn you around just a little bit. You see this Make It Monday? That's going to move up, and then that's the spot that Carol's picture is going to be in. So that will be really nice. And got out the recipe for my Make It Monday reboot, so I could make sure that I purchased whatever I needed in the next couple of days to do that. And and Claudine's planning on getting her hair dyed tonight. I think her and Jody are going to do their hair tonight. And I'm not going to participate tonight because my back is extremely sore at the bottom. So I'm going to just relax a little bit tonight. I have a bit of typing to do, and it takes me a long time because I have to take a great amount of time to just correct what happens when I speak into the dictator. Like I just speak what I want to say and it writes it down, but I have to make sure that the spelling is correct after that when I'm doing it on documents that I have to keep. So I'm going to do that a bit tonight. And other than that, I'm going to tell a little story. and that's all I'm going to do for today. The story, I was telling this to my friend Leslie, and she also shares a fear of spiders that I do. And I said, I always was afraid of spiders, always. I remember, this isn't part of the story, but I remember back in high school, we had spiders. They're called wolf spiders, and they're a little bit bigger of a spider, and they're kind of hairy. And where we were living in British Columbia, they had wolf spiders in the basement. And so if I ever found a spider, like, and nobody else was home to kill it, I learned a trick. And so if one came up the drain, I would take my aerosol hairspray and I would spray the spider, and it kind of starched it, you know. So it wasn't killed, but it wouldn't be able to move. The hairspray just sort of stuck on the hair of the spider. And then when somebody came home who was a little braver than me, I'd go, okay, there's a spider in the sink drain or in the tub or wherever it was, and they'd go and get it and take it outside and get rid of it. So I've always been afraid of spiders, but this took the cake. The next major incident with a spider for me was when we were coming home from my parents' house in BC, and we were coming back to Alberta, and we stopped in, was it Salmon Arm? Yeah, it was Salmon Arm. We stopped in Salmon Arm on the Shuswap Lake and spent the night in a motel. And in the night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I had my slippers on the floor, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and I put my feet into the slippers, went to the bathroom, came back, got into bed, and I could feel my foot all of a sudden really hurting. And I said to Bill, I said, something has bit me. I said, I was bit between here and the bathroom. And he said, well, didn't you have your slippers on? I said, I think it was in my slippers, because yes, I did have my slippers on. Anyway, I said, I'll just persevere till morning and we'll check it all out and whatnot. Because what are you going to do? It's the middle of the night, you know, what are you going to do? Anyway, we got up in the morning and looked at my foot, and I could see a sort of a shape like a C, a crescent C. And it was raised up, and it was red and inflamed. And I said, I think I'm going to have to see a doctor. So Bill said, well, okay, let's get home really quick so that you can get into the doctor. So we drove from there straight home, and I went down to see the doctor, and the doctor took one look at it, and he said, it's a spider bite. But he said, I don't know what kind of a spider bite. So he says, let's take a marker. He took a black marker, and he traced around the C. And I said, that's a considerably larger C than it was there last night. And he said, okay, well, we want to see what happens in 24 hours. We'll see what has happened and progressed. And in 24 hours, there was no longer a C that was visible. There was just a big mound of oozing uckiness. And so anyway, he said, okay, he said, I want you to go over to the infectious disease clinic up at the hospital there, and they will determine what has bit you. So anyway, I went there, and they took a look at it, and they said there's only 2 spiders that it could have been that resided in British Columbia, and one was more likely than the other. And he said the more likely would have been a black widow, because they're quite prevalent in the desert areas, and the Shuswap area is just outside of the desert around Kamloops. And so he said that's the more likely, but he said it doesn't have the markers that a black widow bite would have. He said, it looks to me like a brown recluse. But he said, I don't think that they have brown recluse here. Well, it turned out that they did have them, and they're migrating north. And anyway, so it was a brown recluse. For 2 years, I had a problem with my foot there. It acts, brown recluse bites. If you look it up on the internet, you will see that it acts like flesh-eating disease. And although the outer part of my skin was held intact, I could feel the inside of the ball of my foot was on the ball of my foot. I could feel the inside of the ball of my foot liquidating and bubbling, and it was horrible, horrible, horrible. And about 1.5 years after I had had the original bite, I still didn't lose my foot. They expected I would lose my foot. I didn't lose my foot, but I still had on the bottom of my foot what looked like a piece of old black leather, like you'd taken something and dried it out, like a snake skin, and dried it out, and you had this black leather stuff, but that was on my foot. And it never, you couldn't like peel it off like a scab or something. I had to just wait. And now I have fresh skin there, but I don't have any flesh on the ball of my foot. So when I step down, I'm kind of on bone with a little bit of skin over the top of it on that foot. So that caused me to be really afraid of spiders. Now, to the funny part of the story. Last summer, it was just last summer, it was just before Stampede, so it would have been the end of June. We used to have, like in the apartment that we were in, we would call them sock spiders. Because if Bill was wearing his black socks, little bits of black stuff would come off. Like right now on the carpet, we've got little bits of black fluff. And if you looked at it out of the corner of your eye, it looks like a spider. So we'd call them sock spiders. So because I'd say to Bill, oh, there's a bug on the floor. Can you check if it's a sock spider or a real spider? And he'd come to look and he'd say it's a sock spider, and away he'd take it and throw it in the trash. Well, anyway, one day there was a sock spider in the middle of my kitchen. I didn't know it was a sock spider. I thought it was a real spider. And then the fan blew it. So it looked like the thing scurried across the floor. Well, I lost my mind. I lost my mind. And I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I dove to the ground. Dove, like literally trying to get out of the way. I just threw myself in the opposite direction and I landed on my face. I had the blackest eye you could ever imagine, and I do have a picture of that black eye, and I'm going to put it in right here. So I'm back. Just now you've seen how black my eye went. It was ridiculous. It was so black I can't even imagine it. But anyway, that was the start of me getting worse and worse, because I then fell and broke my hip shortly after that. First of all, I fell in the bathtub, or the bathroom, not the bathtub. I fell into the shower edge in the bathroom, and then I fell in the hallway and broke my hip. And I don't even remember how all the different things transpired, in what order. Claudine remembers that, but the black eye was sort of the catalyst that started it all. And of course, we had to go down to have a Stampede party down at the apartment building. They were out in the parking lot. They had music and hamburgers and whatnot. And so I went down with my face embellished with black. Everybody had a good laugh at me, like I looked ridiculous. But anyway, I thought I would share that story with you and tell you that I fully understand and sympathize with anybody who has a fear of something, because I know it's irrational, but my fear of spiders was bad. Anyway, that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll show you what we purchased, and by then we'll have the Adirondack chairs cleaned up, and I'll show you them, and we'll see what shenanigans we can get up to tomorrow. Alrighty, talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.